My name is Michael and welcome to another GTK tutorial. Today we are going to move on with our signals and we are going to learn two new functions. After we learn how we can connect or disconnect, after we learn how we can check if a handle is connected, then we found out how we can block it and unblock it. We also saw a way to block it by the function and so on, or we could just disconnect it. Today the two functions which I'm going to introduce you, they are called GSignal handle disconnect by data and GSignal connect disconnect by func. What exactly means? If you remember, from the last video, when we were creating basically this closure, here we were passing a callback functions and a message as well. So basically this is the story about them. I had to make some changes from the last video, which means I had to create a message or better say the data, just to be sure that you understand it better. Okay, so I'm going to call it data, and the other one I'm going to call it func, just to be sure that you 100% understand exactly what happens. So now I compiled the program. At this point, if I run it, basically when I click the button, it says you click at the button, and when I close, it says data gets free. So now how those two functions works, let's see. GSignal handle disconnect by data says disconnects all handles on an instance that match data. So the instance to remove from handles from, and the data, the closure data, the handles of the handles closure. So basically what exactly means when we created here the closure data, it was the data we created, which is the you click it button. So in other words, you call this function and then you pass, as it says, the first one is the instance, which is the button, and the second one, it is the data. Well, we pass the data as well. The data is the data which we created here when we were calling the gstring and we create you click at the button string. Now, because we are disconnecting these by data, basically everything which we create here, it's gone, it's not working anymore. So at least if you work in one function, it will destroy. You see, the data gets free, so you have no working button here, or at least the callback function which worked here is gone. So to stop it, I'm going to comment it, and at this point you will see everything works fine. You see, you click at the button and of course the data gets free. Now let us see what's the story with the other one. The GSignal handle disconnect by func says disconnects all handles on an instance that match func and data. So instance is the instance, of course, the button. The func is the C closure callback of the handlers, so useless for non-C closures, you see, and the data is the closure data of handles closures. So in other words, if we call this function, which is a macro, as you can see, it is and we say the instance should be the button, the function should be the func which we created, basically it is this one right here, and the data, it's the data. If you pass null, it will not work, watch, and that happens because they are not matching. You see, it's working fine, so like you never called it, the GSignal handle disconnect. For this to make it work, you need to pass the data also, and once that you pass the data as well, if I compile it and run it right now, it will disconnect all this. You see, the data gets free, it's called, and we have no working button anymore, and the free data which we passed it here was called once that the disconnection between the func and the data from the button was it's out, they are split. So at this point, this is the way how you will basically work with these two functions, and for all those kinds of blocking and disconnecting things which you saw now you saw how you can basically disconnect it by func or disconnecting by data. That's a very important part, or very important thing which you also need to know how it's working. That being said, thank you guys for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, share with your friends and neighbors, and until next time, see you guys.